Welcome everyone on today's Metal3 Community meeting. My name is Adam Rosman and I will be your host today. Today is 29th of November 2023, and as usual we would start with introductions, but as far as I can see there are no new participants today, so we can continue to the reminders. As usual, please note that the meeting is recorded. If you would like to help out the project, feel free to filter our project for the help wanted label, and you will find a lot of open issues that we are asking help for. If you think that your organization would benefit by a Ligid SAP as an adopter, that would be a great help for us. You can do it by creating a PR and pushing the PR to the Metal3 docs repo. The PR has to modify the adopter.md file, and as you can see, it's a simple MD file, and you just have to add an additional line and add your organization. That would greatly help us out to gauge the adoption of our project. If you hit an issue with the automated tests, then feel free to, and you think that it's not related to your PR, feel free to create an issue on the repo where you have seen the issue, and you just have to add this Metal3 CI tracker project or link it to your issue, and then the CI maintainers will see it in a dashboard and they can react to it and start debugging. And as we are working towards the incubation as a community, and the incubation document is, I think there are a few of you who are contributing to this also. I know at least two more is now preparing the security improvements. Please feel free to check that out, and you will find all the instructions at the beginning of the document, and feel free to edit or comment on it, and at the bottom you can add additional remarks that won't be part of the proposal itself. Then there are I won't show all of these, but feel free to visit these links and check out the different automated systems for testing and for monitoring of our community and other statistics. So the first real topic is from the community working groups from the Ironic Scalability group, and this is from Dimitri.
Hi folks. Yeah, it's not really particularly new or fresh out of oven, but there's this discussion. It's pretty active. There are 2 or 3 topics discussed in parallel actually, but the biggest one is probably DHCP in a distributed environment. So definitely feel welcome to participate in the discussion. Second, I'm going to meet with Jay Faulkner with Ironic PTL in 2 hours, I think, a bit less than, to discuss DHCP because he offered to share his experience handling DHCP in complex environments. If anyone wants to participate, let me know. I'll add you to the invite. Just give me your email. Or stop by Ironic IRC. Just mention that you want to take part. Ping J. He's JF on IRC. So that's it. It is a bit hard. I think the biggest 2 problems are this DNS mask thing and JSON RPC and its TLS thing. So having something predictable as JSON RPC hostname that can be used to put that into certificates, or some way to generate the certificates that they were recognized. Because I think I don't want to end up with this having Ironic insecure there forever. So the DNS mask is a blocking issue. The TLS is probably less so, but opinions on both are very, very warmly welcome. And that, I guess, is the current update.
Okay, thanks. I just try to understand this, but this is still a bit the JSON RPC part. Can you expand on that a bit? I think I get the other parts, but not that.
Happily. So imagine we're going to have several ironics. They're going to talk to each other through JSON RPC. That's the only way we can do it standalone, right? So to talk to something through JSON RPC, you need to connect to that through HTTP, right? So you need to know its IP address or its host name. That's first problem. To have a secure TLS, and I guess we want secure TLS between JSON RPC, between ironics in the cluster talking to each other, you need to pass the host validation, which means you need to put your certificate, your TLS certificates have to contain a subject out name that matches the host name that Ironic is using, either IP address or DNS name. So that is a bit of a problem, right? If we use, for example, what we do now right now, and imagine there's no provisioning, or okay, imagine there's no provisioning network for simplicity. We essentially are using host IPs of Kubernetes control plane nodes. These are semi-predictable, but if a node is replaced, you probably need to update TLS certificates manually. That's very unfortunate. We should probably avoid that, or maybe not. So that's roughly the problem here with TLS.
It might be like a very dumb question, but so the JSON RPC is needed for the multiple ironics to talk to each other, that I get. Yep. And then the problem is that in order to do that, we need to give them a host name that is known between it, like a predictable host name, right?
Well, it's not per se required for JSON RPC itself, because any ironic instance will report itself into the shared MariaDB. So if you look at this database, you know all your peers. So that is not a problem. The problem is TLS. So your TLS certificate that you're using has to include all these peers or all these IP addresses, all these DNS names. Like, how do you configure TLS certificates for JSON RPC?
And if we would like deploy alongside to the pods services, Kubernetes services, wouldn't that provide a host name that can be like TLS or TLS enabled and reliable, so that the ironics wouldn't communicate through node like the node IPs, but actually through the Kubernetes service?
So you mean you deploy one additional service per each ironic instance?
Yes.
That could work. That's going to be a bit tricky how to make it play well with daemon sets, or really any deployments, daemon sets, or anything. Right? Like how do you tell the service which ironic instance it's responsible for if the pods are created through a daemon set or a deployment? They're all identical, right?
Okay. Well, this is something that I guess we can continue the discussion about. This is interesting. Now, is there anyone who want to say something or ask something related to this?
Maybe on the issue of distinct addresses for DHCP range, I think it is also linked with the other topic of providing data for the pre-provisioning. is that maybe one way to solve all this would be to create all IP addresses that are used inside the management cluster, and to tie those addresses to bare metal host and not to various templates, so that when you use DHCP, you could use it in a kind of controlled mode, slave mode, where DHCP would not be used to create and allocate new IP address, but would use what is registered inside the resource. But it's somewhat structuring in the sense that it means that there's a common place for all the templates that you will use later and for DHCP to register the IP address of an interface. And EPAM would create those IP address at this level and not at the template level.
So yeah, go ahead.
No, please answer. I was just
there are a few problems. First, not everyone is using the Metal3 IPAM. I can also imagine that not all our users will want to pre-allocate IP addresses at all. That's definitely not what we're doing in OpenShift. So that would be a paradigm shift for us, which is possible, but probably. My other problem with DHCP and whole this story is there is also a problem of linking a DHCP server to Ironic, in that so there is a node, it boots from something, so it goes to our provisioning network sake, it tries to boot from DHCP. If we have one DNS mask for 3 Ironics, what information is this DNS mask is going to provide it? It will tell it, okay, go boot IPXE, all right, then go take this IPXE configuration, but there's no guarantee that this IPXE configuration is on the same Ironic that coexists with this DNS mask. It can be on another control plane node. So the node will not find its configuration because it's accessing a wrong Ironic. I have one idea how to fix that in Ironic, like make Ironic essentially responsible for pointing out as the correct configuration, but that needs to change in Ironic. Second thing we could do, we could have 3 DNS masks, and Ironic is actively managing each of them. So right now we don't do that. We just put static configuration, call it a day. And we discuss the Kia as like a dynamic DHCP manager, but actually there is a very rudimental and simple, but still a DHCP manager for DNS mask inside Ironic. We could use that. It will configure one DNS mask, so there is a correct DNS mask instance with options, and for the other 2 we can use DHCP ignore exclamation none, so it doesn't respond anything. That is a very nice architecture. The problem there lies probably in Kubernetes, because we cannot configure all 3 DNS masks with the same DHCP range. They're gonna clash, right? They don't coordinate, unlike in Kia. So we have to divide the DHCP range in 3 parts, which is doable. I know people who do that with Ironic. Like you have 3 DNS masks and they split the DHCP range into 3 non-overlapping parts so that leases never clash. But how to do that with Kubernetes? Like I have a daemon set. I cannot provide different. It's hard to provide different options to different pods in a daemon set deployment. That's a pattern that Kubernetes actively discourages. So there's a bit of like a brain twist there, whatever path you take.
I'm not sure that the problem is real with overlapping DHCP range, as long as you have only lease in your DHCP for part of the needed one, because in fact your DHCP is no more creating new lease. It needs to get them from either your Ironic or from something that takes the release that is in fact defined in your Kubernetes resources to the DHCP server. That's the experiment I've tried to do with Key and the pointer I gave you this morning.
Right, so we can make IPAM mandatory for that, but it's currently not mandatory, right? So there's dynamic release support right now. If I say it's not going to work with a distributed architecture, we can say that. That's one of the options, really. We can just say, okay, IPAM is mandatory. And we need a way to tell DNS mask to take this host, because as we discussed, DNS mask will require a restart, right? It's a static configuration. It's not something we can use API for. Kia support is possible, but it requires your downstream plugin, and that's a lot of work that I don't know who's gonna do. But please do put all your ideas into this discussion. They are all very helpful and very useful. We need to have this written so they can properly discuss all the options.
Yep, I think it's time to go forward to the other topics. Let's check the next one. The next one was the question of Tuomo. I think he's not here. So it was a simple question. Can we then now go, what do you think? Can we go forward with the DCO? I think it has been enabled in a few places or in one place. I've seen stuff related to that. And the email that was sent out, when was that? In the group. It was, I think, from Adir. DCO informants and PMO IPAM and cluster API. Yeah, there it was added, and I think it is still not enforced. If I check quickly, pull requests. Yeah, I don't think it's enforced. So there was no pushback against this DCO. We discussed that. We should merge as many stuff as possible. What do you think? Should we wait or should we go forward with it? I mean, I don't think there will be a perfect time to enable it anyways.
There probably won't. We just really need to go through the list of open patches and see if there are things that can just be merged right now.
Should we have next week a community, like next week we would have anyways the triaging. So should we take it as part of the triaging and then just go through it together and mark them that these need to go in?
That's a good idea. It would be great to have more approvers here, because for BMO, I'm the only approver, I think, present. So if Kashif could join, that would probably be good.
Let me write this down to forget. So we could make it part of next week. Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's fine by me. I will talk to Kashif. Any other idea about this? If nothing, then I guess this is a solid plan. We can go forward. Next one is this review request from Leonard is not here. That's all I know about this. Yeah, it's improvements to the customizations, and I seen that Dimitri, you had a comment related to this on the meeting notes.
Yeah, I'll bring it to the PR since Leonard is not here.
Okay. Yeah, so others also feel free to check this out. It actually has no don't merge lib or anything, so should we put a hold on that until your question is answered?
That's not critical, really. I guess if we wait until inspector support is optional, this patch can be much smaller. But then again, if it merges today, that's not a problem.
Okay.
So it's not a blocking concern.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks. And I won't do here anything. Anybody else who might have some question or something related to this PR? Okay, then the next one is a demo.
Yeah, I wanted to show the progress as Ironic operator. If I could actually take, I don't suggest you watch the YouTube one. If I could take the screen sharing, I can watch it locally and make comments because it doesn't have sound as a YouTube video, it's just text. So let me see if I can, if you could probably stop your screen sharing.
Yeah. I stop it.
Yeah, now let me see if, okay, that should be my video player. Right, does it look so?
Yeah, it looks like VSC.
Okay, let's go. I recorded it in a video just because it's the processes take a bit of time. Well, let's start. Yeah, but before we actually jump into watching, that shows how pods are created and how servers are started. I don't show the actual deployment. I believe it should work. It could have small issues. Just modifying MetaCube to use Ironic operators, such a pain. So I just could not build a good development environment so far. I'm just using Kint here, with just normal Kint with no virtual bare metal host. But I'm going to show you how things are created and how the API resources roughly look like. Okay, so first one, if we take a look here, that's we define as something of kind Ironic, which is has a name, a namespace, and a RAM-disk SSH key. That's the thing I'm mostly proud about because that, as much as it takes to get you an Ironic instance, single node Ironic instance that is ready to do virtual media provisioning. So now I'm gonna show you all this. We create the Ironic object and now we wait for some time. I actually cut the video here because IPA downloader takes time to download things. So it's actually several minutes here, but I'm gonna cut this video after several seconds. Yep, here we go. So this is the created resource. As you see, there are a few fields that got automatically populated, images, the defaults, ports, the defaults, and there are credentials that automatically created. That's another great thing about Ironic operators that I'm particularly proud of. If you don't provide a secret with credentials, you just get one automatically created for you. And you see these conditions, deployment available. I should probably rename it to ready because I just learned that available is apparently an OpenShiftism and poor Kubernetes uses ready, but that can be done later on. Let's see what it creates. So it creates a service called Ironic, so the same name, serving port 80. It creates one pod, as you see, with 3 containers, Ironic UCBD, RM disk logs. No inspector, no support for inspector will be available here. I'm not gonna do that. IPA downloader is a init container. And what? Yeah, now I'm gonna demo actually accessing this ironic. So we are taking the secret that got automatically created, extracting username and password from there. And first we just curl. Second, we curl an endpoint that is authenticated. So this is not an authenticating point, you can just curl it. This driver's endpoint is authenticated. So you see, I didn't provide anything, got 401. And now I do provide something. And as you see, we get drivers. So that works. Ironic works, and we get authentication going. As you see, no weird secrets, no creating, no using HTTPS there, no else config. You just let it do the job automatically. Now, a fancy example, TLS, provisioning network with DHCP, and a real database. First, I'm creating a TLS certificate with, I'm using like the Kubernetes DNS names and the IP address of the node, which I know is here for simplicity. You're probably going to use sort service in real production, but I just do a simple thing. So we create the secret, and we're creating a resource called ironic database, or kind ironic database called ironic, and link to this TLS secret. We also create an ironic, which links to the database we create here, so the TLS secret, and configures networking. So IP address is what we call provisioning IP in the image, and DHCP configures so a range, begin of the actual usable DHCPs and end of the usable DHCPs. This can actually be pre-populated by a webhook, but I'm being explicit here because that's what probably most people want to do. So let's create all this stuff. Create two resources I see, and now we're waiting again. And again, I'm going to cut the video because it takes, it downloads this IP again. I don't have a local cache here. Yep, we got there. Now I'm showing all the same things. First, this resource we created, it's available. It has some information again pre-populated. The services there are two pods, pod for ironic itself and pod for database. Now I'm gonna show you all the containers running there. By the way, if you pay close attention, the database is not running on host networking, right? It's a cluster API, so the database is not available on host networking. I consider it's a good security practice here. It's also a separate pod, and it also uses TLS and authentication, by the way. Showing containers is MariaDB container in running database pod, and you can now see DNS mask containers in the ironic pod. The init containers are the same. We have IPA downloader. Now I'm again fetching the credentials so that I can curl stuff for you. And it takes a second. Now first I'm doing just, that's not an authenticated endpoint, and I'm using curl and secure just to show things work. Now let's use TLS validation and let's use credentials. So I'm using my certificate, using my credentials, and I'm fetching drivers. And again, we have the drivers. It's a bit of a short demo. It doesn't show a lot of like interaction between database and ironic. You need to believe me that the database actually uses there and actually uses TLS. But that's the current state of things. Now there is already some support in the code for distributed architecture where we run ironic as a daemon set. It's disabled in the webhook so far because it's probably very raw and not going to work correctly. It depends on the outcome of the discussion that we had earlier. But yeah, that's it. I'll stop sharing and let me know if you have any questions.
Can you please keep it the sharing up a little bit?
Or you want to show something old, or you want to just check something?
Just check something. Ask question.
Hold on. I'll do even a better one. I'll just right now I'm going to share the environment where I recorded that. Do you see my terminal?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the actual environment where this demo was recorded. With actual things.
Yeah. So first of all, it looks very nice, and big thanks for you that you have put this POC and the operator together. So I just want to clarify something for myself or maybe for others. So there is like in the discussion where you had some questions or a comment on the PR or the issue about tracking the DNS ranges or DHCP ranges, sorry, the DHCP ranges across multiple pods and how to supply them. But when I wrote my comment there, I expected something similar what you showed us, like that we have in the Ironic CR, and then you can pre-populate, or the user can pre-populate the DHCP range and so on. So isn't that enough for like handling the ranges? I mean, not in relation to the real networks that the like apart from that the DNS mask might talk on the same network and so on. So not related to the layer 2 problems that we might face, but you are already providing like all needed config, right? So
yeah, but that's one range for one DNS mask. If I have 3 DNS masks, this range has to be split. For example, the first one has to go from 10 to 30, the second from 30 to 60, and the last from 60 to 100. Or we need to have this IPAM that Pierre was talking about, where something else is handling the releases. Otherwise, if you just apply this range to all 3 DNS masks, one can choose this .10 for one node, and the other can choose .10 for a different node, and you're going to have a clash.
Well, do we even want this to be automated? I mean, that your sub range is automatically separated, because what like okay, we could put there a logic to just carve it up, and then in case it's like an odd number, even handle that or whatnot. But I'm not sure, because what I was thinking, that if you would have a deployment, like an Ironic deployment, in addition to like the Ironic CR itself, then you could maybe add the list of ranges and then sort them out on like first come first served basis. Yeah, something like what you are writing right now, but
yeah, I'm just prototyping a JSON. So it's doable. It was one of my ideas, but how do you allocate? How do you give each instance a different range? Right, because deployment create pods identical. So you cannot say, okay, this is for the first pod, this is for the second pod. What's gonna do that?
Well, maybe we could, like, the deployment, based on the deployment, like when we iterate over the deployment, or when the deployment is doing its thing, it could pass the same data to each pod, each Ironic CR, but the deployment could annotate the Ironics with an index, and then the Ironics themselves can just take that index and select the range based on that index.
How do you annotate something with the index?
I mean, just with regular annotation. I mean, like you put there.
Yeah, but
like,
how do you make deployment do that?
That's what I'm asking. That is that a thing that we could do, like that the operator would do that based on like the info in the deployment.
So as far as I understand, deployments create pods identical. Whether it will allow me to annotate a pod with something and want to override that, we can test, you know? Do you remember the exact syntax here? Can I just do this? did not override that actually. Maybe. Maybe. I'll think about that. Could you maybe leave this comment also in the issue so we don't lose track of that? Because I was under the impression that deployment would just remove that, but apparently it does not. We see it works. So maybe it's gonna work. Yeah, if we do that, that's all we need. Can we make a pod read its annotations? I guess I could try environment variable with field from. I'm not going to test it right now. It's going to take too much time. All right, maybe let's discuss it on the issue. Does anyone have any more comments, or maybe want to see something while I have this environment open?
Yeah, sure. So please, anyone, if you want to ask anything.
That's, by the way, the pod. I didn't show it, but that's the ironic pod, right? It has quite a lot of stuff here.
You still put a lot of definitions of ranges on Ironic. Do you have plans for real support for multiple clusters from the same Ironic, and do you still want to make pivot?
I don't quite get the question.
Because those ranges, are they attached to a cluster? Are they attached to an Ironic? If you note,
the HTTP range is a property of an ironic deployment. That's how IP addresses are allocated.
Yes, but although you have different subnets for different clusters, and you strictly know how you which cluster is associated with which sub-range, and so which subnet. You will have trouble when you will try to do pivot with a setting like this if you have multiple clusters and you just want to pivot one.
So these are all good questions, but what I'm doing right now is ironic operator. I'm replicating the existing features of Metal3 in an operator, right? So what you describe as a problem is a current run DNS mask script we use, right? It only accepts one range. Well, that's all good points, but it's probably a discussion for the future enhancements. But yeah, please do write them down. Like, folks, any of your ideas, please write them down in this issue so that at least have a history of discussing that.
Yeah, there is also something that came to my mind. I will also add this to the comments. But when I was working with iPixie, I came across a discussion about a feature that was called colored networks. That might be just a thing for BootP, but there I've seen a DNS mask config with multiple like ranges, and then they were achieving something that they were sending different answers to the different networks. So
that's kind of DHCP relay, right?
I'm not expert on this. I just seen like a few examples of this. I didn't really understood. But
it's doable. In Red Hat OpenStack, we actually do that. We have 3 DNS masks. That's a completely different installation, but also of Ironic. So we have 3 DNS masks. We split the range, and we also support DHCP relays with different ranges. So we do all of that. I guess the question is what path we want to take.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything? Any question?
Anything you want me to show you while I have this environment in front of me?
No, I think thanks first of all again, and then I will take back the screen.
Yep, I give it back to you.
Thanks, and is that? I hope this is the correct screen. Do you see the docs?
Yep.
Okay, great. So it was a great demo, and then we can go forward. Yeah, okay. This is a review request about the inspector removal, or actually support for the inventory format, the new one.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
merge this, BMO is going to support both Ironic Inspector and Ironic without Inspector.
Yeah. I put that on approve. There is not much I can do. I'm not a reviewer here, but I have seen this. I've read this. Yep, please. I guess from us, it's only Kashif who has approval rights. But I guess anyone who is interested, please check this out. This is great stuff in the sense that if we can get rid of the inspector, that will open up all these things about the multi-tenant or multi-ironic stuff setups. And this other one is for the image. And this is just the related change in the ironic image.
Yeah, that makes Ironic image support both Inspector and deployment without Inspector.
Yeah, this I will check out. I think I have missed this one.
Yeah, it's not 100% complete, but early comments are very welcome.
Cool. Thank you. These are very good improvements. And then there is there any question related to this from anyone? Okay, if nothing, then there's a question from you that do we need a meetup in January? I'm fine with it. I'm available in January, mainly in the second part, so I can facilitate it. We can.
Maybe let's create a doodle for that.
Okay. Yeah. For asking just that, should we have it, or about
For the dates, I mean,
the dates?
because I mean, I think we need that. It's been a while now.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Especially if this need comes from the community, from you, that's even better. Then I know that it's something that we want to keep up. Okay, I will do this. Do them. Yeah. And now that we have actually had a previous one, we can compare that. What have we achieved, or what have we progressed with? I think with a lot of things actually. There was a lot of stuff, as far as I remember, that was discussed and now reality. So thank you for all of you. Okay, is there any question, any comments related to this, to the meetup, or any other topics that we had?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, very good job, Dmitry, regarding the ironic operator.
Thank you.
Really.
Yeah. Okay, if there's nothing else, then I guess that's all for today. Thanks again for the POC and all the good discussions. Let's meet next week. Next week, then we will do the triaging and this extra stuff for determining what should be merged and what should be not merged before we enable the DCO enforcement. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.